Welcome to Animated Discussions. My friends call me D, and today I don't have a movie quote. I'm just happy I got my childhood back. Superman interferes with international politics, causing some ripple effects he and the US weren't ready for. Fearful and scared, Superman fans hand the hero some anger and hatred in a way he hasn't had to deal with before, all while he's trying to put an end to a brewing war. This movie stars David Cornsweet, Nicholas Hoult, Rachel Brosnahan, and was directed and written by James Gunn. I'll say it before and I'll say it again. Tobey Maguire, amazing Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield, amazing Peter Parker. Tom Holland, and that's exactly what we get with David Cornsweet. He makes both characters so good and so different. I feel like he did a really good job of being awkward and playing Clark and being a little more reserved and playing Superman. It was so fun watching the different dynamics between the two characters.
Superman.
Miss Lane.
Here's what I love. They made Superman relatable. They made him fallible. He made mistakes. He was human. The hard part, this is my personal opinion, the hardest part about Superman, and the reason why Batman is so popular nowadays, is because Superman is too good. He's too lawful. A lot of people say that inspiration for Superman came from Moses or Jesus in the Bible. And so it makes sense that he's so OP, he's so overpowerful, he's so good all the time, even with all that power. He carries the weight of that responsibility, but it makes it hard to relate to him. Batman, Bruce Wayne, might be a billionaire playboy.
Shut up and take my money.
But he makes mistakes. He's kind of insane. He's kind of intense. He goes too far sometimes. We know he never kills anyone, but he's still someone who's like, okay, you are deep in this, my guy. You know what I mean? And with that, it makes him more relatable because he has that dark side. Superman rarely makes mistakes, or mistakes that we can relate to. And I think this movie did a really great job of towing the line of making Superman human. Yes, he's an alien, but he was raised by humans, and so his personality, nature versus nurture, is very human. And it was beautiful to watch him in his desire to do good, I feel like sometimes take it too far.
People were going to die!
And it was very interesting because his desire to do good almost came off as kind of like a codependent or a people-pleasing type thing. He didn't really care what people thought, but he just wanted to make sure everyone was okay. He wanted to make sure everyone was safe. And showing the weight of that responsibility in that character made him relatable. There are scenes where he saved people or creatures that I was like, how did you even notice that? And as someone who is very hyper aware of how people feel all the time, it was very interesting to watch him almost take it too far, in my opinion. That was amazing to me, and it made me feel like I could relate to Superman in a way that I never thought I could relate to him before. I always thought he was a fun character. I love Smallville. Tom Welling, oh my gosh, amazing. But watching this was so real. I've never, in all of my comic, movie watching, DC, cartoon, all of those days, I've never felt like I could relate to Superman, you know? I just thought that was beautiful.
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
We didn't lose the core of who Superman was. We still got Superman being Superman. So kudos to David and kudos to James, because I think the two of them together really created a beautiful cocktail of a superhero. I'm gonna be straight with you guys. As soon as I found out James Gunn was doing Superman, I had hope again, because it has been hard to watch DC movies. DC has not been fun for me. So when James Gunn came, I was so excited. But then when I found out who he cast for Lois, I was sold. I'm like, the rest of the movie could suck. James could fumble the ball for everything else, but I know he at least got Lois right. Because here's what I struggle with. A lot of people don't get Lois right. And a lot of people think Lois is just like this brash person who just runs into danger. And she does sometimes, but Lois is smart. Lois is a smart person. That's how she's so good at what she does. And James and Rachel Brosnahan did a very good job of making Lois take risks with calculated nets, proverbial nets under her. And I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed watching her react with no fear. Rachel Brosnahan brought Lois to life. And I haven't been this excited to see a female support in a superhero movie since Margot Robbie was Harley Quinn.
What was that? I should kill everyone and escape? Sorry. The voices.
I think Margot Robbie is an amazing Harley Quinn. I think Rachel Brosnahan is Lois Lane. And that, listen, here's what's hard about superhero movies is a lot of times they don't really care about getting the side character, the support character correct. They just know the superhero needs a woman that he comes home to every night that keeps him going, and she is the reason he tries to stay good. She is the reason that a villain now has a reason to hurt him. She is always for him. Yes, I get that's why that character is created. However, it is so hard watching these characters just become two-dimensional, very flat people. Lois is one of my favorite superhero supports ever. She takes no nonsense. She gets done what needs to get done. She asks the right questions. And they got a good Lois. And I just loved her. I just loved her.
You have a dog?
I think a lot of people think it's really not that serious. But the important thing to realize is Lois was created the way she was so that she could stand next to Superman. She's not a superhero, but she is what helps make him super in her strength. She can handle him being super. It's a lot of pressure. If you've ever dated anyone who's not on the same level, if you feel like they are out of your league or you feel like they make more money than you, especially in America where we were such a independent, pull yourself up from your bootstraps society where all your worth is based on your accolades and how much money you have. If someone that you are dating feels above you, even if they're just a human, that is hard. Now, if you're dating a super alien who can shoot lasers out of his eyes and fly, you have to have the confidence to stand next to that. You just have to. And so people trying to make Lois someone who is not that strong and still make it make sense that she's next to Superman, like, what are we doing? You know?
You need to thank us, sir, as we will not appreciate it.
I think Nicholas Hoult as listen, Lex, I think you just need a pint of ice cream and a season of Love Island and a blanket and maybe some sad romance music. Like, I know the breakup was hard. I know you're in a lot of pain. Come on, I'll hold your hair as you throw up if you need to. Sorry, you don't have hair. I will hold your tie as you throw up if you need to take some shots just to forget about him. Lex was the best representation of a bad breakup. And this coming out after the Trump and Elon dispute, that was just funny to me. It was just this literally just happened 2 months ago.
Hey! Quit messing around! I'm not messing around. I'm doing important stuff.
Mr. Gunn, I have so many questions for you. How did you make Mr. Terrific cool? Did you always know Krypto was going to be in it? How did you find the perfect Superman for your story? Is there any superhero adaptation that you feel like might actually be a challenge for you? Or is all of it just too easy at this point? The feels of this movie just made me cry. The way this movie made me feel, the way this movie made me think about things, I don't know.
He looked at me.
What doesn't work? Okay, here's the thing. This movie for me is not a movie that I would sit down and necessarily dissect the artistic interpretation of things. This meant this and this is this and da. You know how I did a full deep dive analysis into Sinners? I wouldn't do that for this movie because this is one of those movies that I just want to sit and feel good, and that's what it does. It's a beautiful movie. It's very well done. It's so comic booky in the best way. All the happy notes and things. So for me, there's not a lot that I don't like about this movie, but there are a lot of people complaining about things online about this movie. So I want to address some of those complaints. Some people are saying it's too silly. Lies. Lies. From the world of destruction. Lies. It's a comic book movie. It's a comic book movie that is a comic book movie based on the comic book of Superman that was made in a very silly time. Not a silly time, but like in a very silly way when things were kind of silly. He was a superhero that was supposed to get kids to believe in everything. Like the bright colors, that is what Superman is about. I understand that Henry Cavill made Superman angsty and awesome and gritty, and I get that. And there's a place for that universe of Superman. But if we're going back to the true content, back to the true source of Superman, this movie was Superman. Okay, the last thing. It's too woke. Here's what I will say. I'm not trying to swing anyone one way or the other. I try not to be too political in my channel. There are things I'm passionate about. But here's what I will say. As someone who's a fan of X-Men and Superman, a lot of people have been saying recently that X-Men has suddenly become about civil rights all of a sudden, and Superman would not try to do what Superman is doing in this movie. The X-Men were modeled after Malcolm X and Martin Luther King Jr. in the fight against civil rights. Superman is about truth and justice. That's originally what he was about. The American Way part of his slogan did not come until World War II, during the radio era, as propaganda to boost the morale of the American citizens during the war. In reading and consuming this material, if those storylines do not ring true to you, you might be missing what the author is trying to talk about, because they are very open about what these characters are made for. The whole reason X-Men was created was to talk about racism in America. Superman was talking about treating people equally. He is an illegal alien from another planet. There are things happening in our world right now that are reflected in the media that we consumed for fantasy. And it was fun to read it when the good guy won because it wasn't real. And now some things are really happening in the world. And they've always been happening. They've always been happening. We can't sit here and act like this is new. Nothing like this has ever happened before. I'm going to do a video on the Battle of Algiers soon, which is one of the movies in the top 100. This has been going on forever. But with social media, we can now see every war that's happening, everything that's going on. And my question to you is, if the media that we're watching, if Superman, these superhero movies that we're watching, have villains that reflect reality, the question shouldn't be, why is something like Superman copying reality? It should be, why are real life villains so insane and huge and big right now that they are big enough challenges for characters and heroes who should be impossible to be? The fact that villainy is in reality is absolutely becoming a real threat to someone who can fly and shoot lasers, that says a lot about the turmoil in reality right now. That is intense. And that is a lot. Everyone has their opinion on everything going on. I get it. But if the villains in the show reflect reality and are still a good villain against insanely strong characters, that just shows how intense our world is right now. That's a lot. That's a lot to unpack. If you miss good DC movies and just want to have an amazing nostalgic feel, you gotta watch the movie. It's just so cute. It's so cute. Now, if you want something gritty and something that is like, grr, you're not gonna get that in this movie. Overall, I give this movie 4.5 out of 5 cryptos, putting it at number 2 for 2025. Let me know if you agree with me. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, I hope you have a great day and see you later.